Your best friend, your shadow, the person who reflects everything you love and everything you hate about yourself. You can't live without her, and sometimes you wish you could. Because what no one tells you is this: our mirrors aren't made of glass, they're made of people. And when they shine too bright, we start to disappear. That's the truth behind my brilliant friend, and behind every friendship that secretly becomes a mirror of our soul. Have you ever looked at someone and felt that strange mix of admiration and pain? That's what Leela and Elena represent, two sides of the same psyche. One burns too brightly, too fast. The other tries to stay composed, acceptable, safe. Together, they become a portrait of how identity is born, not in isolation, but in reflection. We don't grow alone. We grow in the gaze of others, whether we like it or not. Leela shows Elena her wildness, her chaos, her courage, her genius. And Elena, in return, shows Leela what it means to be seen, structured, validated. But their bond isn't peaceful. It's volcanic. It's a love that expands and destroys, one that forces each of them to confront the parts of themselves they cannot accept. Every friendship has this shadow, a reflection of our brilliance, our envy, our unspoken truths. You can love someone deeply and still envy them. You can cheer for them while secretly wishing their success didn't make you feel small. Envy is not a crime. It's a sacred signal. It tells us what we long for. It reveals the parts of ourselves we've hidden or ignored. Lila's brilliance ignites Elena's hunger to write. Elena's discipline provokes Lila's defiance. Each becomes the other's catalyst. This is the paradox of close friendship. The person you love most is also the one who challenges you to grow the most, and sometimes the one who cuts the deepest. When envy shows up, don't run. Ask it what part of you wants to be seen. Let it guide you toward your own hidden potential. Friendship does not exist in a vacuum. Leela and Elena grew up in Naples, in a world that shaped every thought, word, and longing. They are trapped by social class, poverty, and the unspoken rules of their neighborhood. Their friendship is their lifeline, but it also becomes a battlefield of expectations and limitations. Elena leaves the neighborhood, education and ambition pull her away, yet she carries its ghosts inside her. Leela, who stays, becomes the living memory of a world Elena has left behind. Self-growth often starts with leaving a town, a habit, a version of yourself. But healing begins when you stop running from where you came from. Sometimes you must go back, not to live there, but to forgive the parts of yourself that had to survive there. It's in this interplay of departure and loyalty, of ambition and memory, that we learn who we truly are. You see, comparison is rarely just envy. It's an alarm bell. It tells us where we feel small, where we've forgotten who we are. Leela and Lanu's rivalry isn't just about grades or beauty. It's a desperate attempt to locate their own reflection in the other. And maybe that's why their story feels so universal. Because at some point, each of us meets a version of Leela in our life, someone who both intimidates and awakens us, someone who makes us ask, who am I when I'm not competing? That's the moment the real work begins, the birth of the self. Lila is brilliant, untamed, and uncontainable. Her mind is a storm, rapid, relentless, and impossible to ignore. Society, especially a patriarchal society, does not know how to receive brilliance in women. It punishes it. It marginalizes it. How many of us have dimmed our own light to be loved? How many of us have softened our intelligence to stay safe? Elena learns the opposite lesson. Success often comes from adapting, from channeling brilliance into a form the world can recognize. Yet deep inside, she envies the wildfire she cannot embody. Sometimes, the people who irritate or trigger us are simply living the parts of ourselves we've exiled. Growth is learning to reclaim what we have hidden, to integrate the wildfire with the measured flame. Rivalry among women is often painted as something shameful, petty, or destructive. But in My Brilliant Friend, rivalry is sacred. It is a mirror, a teacher, a crucible for growth. The bond between Lila and Elena is not toxic. It is transformative. True rivalry is not about defeating someone else. It is about confronting yourself. It is about allowing another person to reflect your strengths and weaknesses back at you, and having the courage to see what you've hidden. Love, in its most evolved form, is confrontational. It demands that we face ourselves in the eyes of another. In the end, Elena writes. She turns chaos into meaning, envy into narrative, pain into insight. Writing is not escape, it is reclamation. We heal not by erasing pain, but by naming it, by giving it form, by allowing it to teach us. Lila disappears from the world but lives on through Elena's words. Her spirit is immortalized, not because she conquers the world, but because she cannot be forgotten. Self-growth is not always about achievement. Sometimes it is about witnessing, transforming experience into wisdom. Perhaps we all have a Leela inside us, the wild, untamed genius we keep locked away. And we all have an Elena, the version that seeks approval, that measures, that plans. Growth does not ask us to choose one over the other. It asks us to integrate both. Light without structure burns out. Structure without light becomes rigid. Comparison is not the enemy. Integration is. Every envy, every jealousy, every painful mirror is a guide, a call to discover and reclaim the brilliance within ourselves. Maybe that's the real meaning of My Brilliant Friend, that the most important relationships in our lives aren't meant to be peaceful. They're meant to wake us up. they break us open. They show us who we are and who we still refuse to become. Leela and Elena are not just two girls from Naples. They are the two forces that live inside each of us, the untamed and the disciplined, the fearless and the afraid, the wild and the wise. We spend years trying to silence one of them, but healing begins when we stop choosing sides. When we realize that our brilliance is not born from perfection, but from the dance between chaos and control. That's why this story feels so personal, because every friendship that matters leaves a scar. We all have a person who made us question who we are and at the same time made us become who we needed to be. And when the pain softens, when the comparisons fade, we see what was there all along: love, the raw, imperfect, transformative kind. Maybe you've had a brilliant friend, someone who pushed you too hard, or loved you too fiercely, or forced you to face yourself. If you have, you're lucky, because those are the souls that shape us, the mirrors that make us whole. If this story touched something in you, maybe it's time to explore that mirror a little deeper. If you want to understand the wild feminine energy that lives inside each of us, start with Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. It's a map for the untamed parts of your spirit, the parts that Leela would have understood without a word. If you're on a journey of self-compassion and authenticity, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown will meet you like a kind friend at the end of a long road. It teaches you that your worth was never meant to be earned. It was always yours. We dive deeper into Brené's wisdom on embracing imperfection in our video on this topic. Check the link in the description to explore more. If you want to question the cultural structures that define what it means to be a woman, go to The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir. Because Elena and Leela's story is not just psychological, it's political. It's a mirror of how women's voices are shaped, silenced, and reborn through generations. And finally, if you're ready to face the darker corners of comparison, jealousy, and desire, the quiet emotions we don't admit to, read The Psychology of Envy by Richard H. Smith. It will help you see envy not as a sin, but as a teacher, the same way this story did. All the links are in the description below. When you buy through them, you're not just supporting this channel, you're joining a space where growth, curiosity, and reflection are sacred. So tonight, maybe think about your own brilliant friend, the one who made you angry or jealous or alive, the one who became your mirror. Send them gratitude, even silently, because thanks to them, you discovered another piece of yourself. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing. And remember, your brilliance doesn't need to compete. It just needs to be claimed.